A hello to you, Sylwester. I see you have some trading screens in the background with indicators. Are those just for show or are you actually using them?
Good morning, Rogas. I am using them. I just use some of them as confluence, but the majority of my trades are based on market structure. Um, I do like throwing in a couple indicators, but I don't go too crazy to the point where I can't even see the charts on my screen anymore. So
Fair, fair. So, what's your style of trading? Do you go short term or long term, mid term? And then, in terms of number of indicators, what would you say is your sweet spot? Or do you see it differently?
so my trading's usually like my sweet spot in trading is actually between 3 to 7 days is how long I hold a trade.
Mhm.
Um, I've been trying to play around a little bit with scalping since kind of leaning toward Michael G's Scalpers University. But I've done the long term trades of holding for months. I've done the short term scalps, and I found that on average, once I started tracking my trades, it was 3 to 7 days were my most profitable ones.
Interesting. Okay.
And now indicators, indicators, I like to hold. I think it's three indicators that I like. Volume, average profile is one of them. I got the cloud up right now, the EMA cloud, and I also like to use session volume profile, which kind of gives you an indicator of the most volume that was used that day. So it gives you an idea of where the most liquidity lies that day, the most trades. And it's kind of like a zone that usually what I usually trade is Bitcoin. It tends to gravitate toward to grab that liquidity because I mean the whales need the liquidity, right? So take some money away from us retail traders.
Interesting, interesting. Okay, so these indicators, did you get them from maybe Michael's course within the real world? Is it something you found testing yourself? How did you come about your current strategy?
The NPOC indicator, which is your naked points of control, and it turns into like a daily point of control once that indicator gets tapped. I actually found that indicator right before I joined the real world, but I've noticed I had confluence with Michael G because he actually mentioned the indicator in the real world. So after I joined that, and that's how I heard kind of like I guess confluence kind of reassured me that it was a good indicator to use. And the EMA cloud I found from Andonico once I seen his interview with you, and I touched up in the chat with him, and he gave a lot of help, a lot of insight into his kind of system, and I started in kind of adding that into my system too. So
Beautiful. Love to hear that. Okay. And what about in terms of previous experience? You said you found that indicator from before you joined the real world. So what was your experience like prior to joining?
So my previous experience, just kind of in trading crypto and investing, I might as well do a little story about that. I've been following a bunch of Twitter followers. Obviously, who doesn't, right? You follow the Moon Boys. You find good and the bad. Um, my trading experience started in about 2017 when I started trading penny stocks at the time, and I joined a couple alert groups. I don't want to mention the names, but I'll just say like one alert group. It actually cost me $10,000 to join. You needed to have a $10,000 trading account. I started off with chasing alerts, thinking it was the easy thing to do, easy money. Here goes. I'm going to place a bunch of trades. I'm going to make a bunch of bank. And I quickly learned the hard way by blowing up that account. So that was you can consider that a $20,000 loss with the cost of the course and the account. Shortly after that, I started to get into crypto, and crypto was game changing compared to the stock market. I mean, you're seeing like 100% returns in a day during the bull market, and you're trying to trade that in stocks, right? So it was a completely different mindset. I went from being content with having 20% wins to not being happy with 100% win, right? So I mean, sorry, actually, before I jumped into crypto, I also started trading stock options. And stock options were a little bit more volatile than just stocks. So I kind of just started working my way up that volatility ladder, and then finally made it to crypto and invested a decent chunk of my portfolio into crypto during, I think Bitcoin was around 30K at the time. Then it mooned all the way up to 68, 69. My whole portfolio was up 80%. And here I am listening to Moon Boys on Twitter saying Bitcoin's going up to 135K, 120K. And I'm stuck holding the bag after we started pulling back into this little bear market that we're in right now, right? So that's, and then after that, that kind of led me to where I am now in the real world.
When did you join the rewatch?
I joined in December, just before the Tate's arrest. So I would say probably about mid-December.
Okay. And then how has that strategy evolved since? You've mentioned that, I mean, you actually have a good strategy now, but how long did that take to develop? What was the process like there?
So joining the real world, I was still kind of making the same, I want to say, degenerate trades. I would say I had more of a gambler's mindset. And why I say it was a gambler's mindset is I didn't have a good system set up. And I was still using high leverage, thinking, high leverage is the way to go. And high leverage is just a bait on the stick that gets retail, I should say, investors thinking that you're going to make quick money and it's easy money, and that's not the way it is, right? It's a tool meant for not having to use your whole portfolio in the trade. Where I was throwing in my whole portfolio, plus I was using high leverage, thinking I'm going to get to my $1 million real quick. And so joining the real world, I quickly learned you need to have a setup. You need to have a system. You need to be recording your trades. If you're not doing that, you're pretty much gambling.
Now, have you gone through Adam's masterclass? I'm wondering.
I have actually. So when I started the real world, the way that it was kind of set up, it was Scalpers University first, and then Adam's Masterclass. And so I blew through Scalpers University, and I said, okay, sweet, Adam's Masterclass. There's another campus that opens up as soon as you're done that. So it was the challenge, right? And I'm crushing the videos. I'm going through, I don't know how many, like 6 hours a day, to the point where like I'm running out of brain calories here, and I don't even know if I'm retaining any information. And it got to the point where I got to do the masterclass exam. And at the time, I'm actually drywalling too. So I'm busy slinging drywall, framing, taping, coming back, trying to do the lessons, getting frustrated because it's not sticking in my head. After the first exam, I figured I needed to go back and redo his whole masterclass one, because I couldn't find, I think it was 2 of the questions or 3 of the questions inside the exam. So I hit reset on the whole masterclass one, redid everything, and Adam's like, "What are you doing? You didn't need to reset the whole lesson." And I'm thinking like, what do you mean I couldn't find the questions? And he's like, "You need to look past the lessons." And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm an idiot. I should have used Google or some other tool at my resources, right? So I had to redo the whole masterclass one, which was okay. I mean, it was good. It was a learning experience. I got to pick up a few things that I didn't pick up the first time. Um, my mistake when joining the real world was I thought that I could just blow through these lessons. I wanted to get it done as quick as possible, cram as much information as I could. And that's one thing that I quickly realized is you can't rush it. It's gonna come to you when it comes to you. Don't compare yourself to the other students. So what if one student can get the masterclass done in a week and it takes you 6 months? If you're not retaining that information, you're not going to benefit from it. So that was my first mistake when I joined the real world, and I quickly learned that.
Interesting. Okay. That would have been one of my questions, like the biggest challenge you faced when first joining. So would you say that was it though? Or would you have something else to say?
That was probably definitely the biggest challenge. It was a mental challenge too. I was having a hard time not getting frustrated, thinking I'm running out of time here because I'm also a contract worker at a nuclear power plant. So I'll be heading back to work here probably in a month. So my firstborn was also due 4 weeks ago. So I was trying to. One of the reasons that I actually had joined the real world was because he was due in 2 months, and I said I just need to do something. I need to get as productive as I can, and so I kind of put myself in a little time constraint and said I've got X amount of months to soak up as much information as I can, and then it was just go, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, congratulations on the newborn.
Thank
I'm
you.
sure
Thank you very much. I hear him crying, so I think he's starting to wake up slowly.
If you'll need to attend to him or
That's
her.
okay. No. The mother's my wife's with him right now, so.
Now, how did that go then? That time constraint, how did it go in terms of gains? What would you have to reveal?
So in terms of gains, actually, last week was probably my most profitable, and when I started to actually kind of get more into trading, because after I went through Adam's masterclass, I invested into his long-term strategy. Which before that, I was just holding Bitcoin. Like I said, I diamond held it all the way from all-time highs because I got psyoped into thinking you're a great investor if you're diamond holding, right? And you go through Adam's masterclass and you quickly learn. You learn not only how to trade, but I would say the greatest benefit I've got from the real world are the psychological lessons. And I quickly learned that I was stuck in sunk cost fallacy. And I was just attached to my coins and thinking, here's the Bitcoin that I'm going to hold for my son, and it's going to be his retirement. When I should have been thinking that this is money I should be using to invest, and I can quickly grow that money. And in the long run, he'll be having a lot more Bitcoin than what's currently on my ledger, right?
Mhm. Right.
So that week that I finally gone through the lessons and I figured these NFTs that I've been holding are just a bunch of JPEG images that are probably not going to go to $100,000 anymore. And I should have probably sold them during the market top. So I started just dumping everything I had. I started selling some Bitcoin that I bought near 18 and 20K. And the NFT sales, I believe they rounded me near 2,500 USD. And then I started also making a quick couple scalps that week. That was around 500 to 600. So it was just over $3,000 that week.
Yeah, in a week, $3,000, decent
Yeah,
return.
yeah, I can't complain about that. They used to say $1,000 a day keeps the real job away or something like that, or a week. So I mean, 3 grand in a week. I'm not complaining.
I like that. Yeah. Now, in terms of material within the real world, the lessons, the professors, everything, how different is it to what you can find on the internet?
Yeah, so like I said, I've done a bunch of courses on the internet. That one $10,000 alert course came with a cardboard box full of DVDs and binders and everything. And what you find in the real world, the majority of what you find, you can probably find on the internet if you look hard enough. But with the real world, it's set up in such a way where you can follow it chronologically and take your notes and learn exactly from A to Z. It's set up in a foolproof way where you don't have to put in that time. It's like Adam says, like he's been investing for 10 years now, and if we go through his courses, we can be at his stage within 3. You can cut your time in a half, in a third, as quick as you really want, right? So they've set it up in such a beautiful way that anybody can follow it. Also, I think that the courses, the knowledge that I found in the real world is probably not what everyone else is kind of looking for, or I should say, the ones that affected me the most are not the ones that maybe affected other students the most. What quickly affected me in the real world when I joined the real world, I joined thinking I'm going to find another source of income. I joined thinking I'm going to make a whole bunch of money in crypto. And what actually happened is I learned how to shape my iron mind. And it was the psychological lessons. It was Adam's masterclass on his psychology. It was Professor Sillard's phone calls. It was Michael G's journal. Those are the ones that helped me out the most. Not with my trading, but with my life. Like my life took a complete 180-degree turn in the other direction. I can go through a little personal, like before joining the real world, I was drinking beers. I was crushing like 6 tall boys a day. I was smoking weed, and as soon as I found out about the Tates and joined the real world, I quit all that. It's been 109 days since I haven't had a drink. 105 days since I haven't smoked any weed. Um, just got into a positive mindset of bettering myself. Professor Adam put out something about a 50 daily push-up challenge, and I figured like this is just 50 push-ups. I can easily do this, and even though I've got a broken collarbone in 3 spots, and I was using that as my excuse to not get physically active, I said, "What's 50 push-ups?" And it motivates you. And you think it's just 50 push-ups, but at the end of the day, it was just him to get you off your ass and get you started. And then you start doing the daily push-ups and you start to see the improvement. You start doing the grind, and like, yeah. So the most beneficial thing that I found in the real world was how my life improved, not even my investing.
But then that has a direct correlation to your investing, I'm
That
sure
has
as
a
well.
direct correlation. When you've got a positive mindset, you're living the best life that you can, then that directly correlates into your investing, right?
Mhm.
Before that, that's probably why I had the gambler's mindset, and it was all the toxicity that I was surrounded at in and toxicity that I was putting into my life, right?
Very interesting. So that partially shows what an impact Tate has had on you. Is there anything more to say for maybe influence of Tate on your life?
Um, well, I could talk about how I kind of came across Tate. So I came across Tate maybe a couple days before even joining the real world. And it was one of my normie friends in our Discord actually posted one of his lives. And it really resonated with me, his words on how my life was just average. And I'm just this average person just getting by, excuse me. And how you could do better, and how we're created by God, and why not be the best that we can and show God what His creation is capable of, right? Um, so I started to slowly kind of look into the real world, and I figured, why not try it? I've tried all these other programs that cost thousands of dollars, and here's the real world. It's $49 for the month. Like, how can I go wrong, right? And I mean, originally you think like $49, like this might just be another scam or something, and you quickly learn that it's not. It's the best value that you're going to get for your investment, and it's hard to believe that it's only $49. And I think partly the reason for that is he's just trying to reach out to as many people as he can. He's just trying to help as many individuals as he can. And it's especially the younger guys, the younger generation, like who can't afford a $49 course for 30 days and at least try it, right? Like, I mean, some people probably spend that on lunch or on some video game or something, right?
Right. Right. Very well put. So in terms of the community you've seen within the real world, those people who are joining, have they had any impact on you? I know Ando directly influenced your trading. What about other people? Is any more to say on
Yeah,
that?
there's so many great guys in there that are trading. There's what can I like the community, as what Adam calls it, is just a bunch of pimps, positively, inspirationally, motivational people, right? So um, like the community compared to my Discord community is unbelievable. As soon as like so when like let me talk about my normie friend that got me onto Tate. So when he got me onto Tate, I started improving myself. I started actually doing ice dips in the lake where I'm doing cold immersion to train my iron mind. And I'm posting this to my friends, and these are my high school friends and my brothers in this community. And at first, they're having a laugh. They're saying, this is great family entertainment. Thanks for the videos. And slowly it got to the point where they're like, dude, like this Discord is it's narcissistic, like you're not humble anymore, and like keep it to yourself, and it went super toxic. And these were my friends, right? And then you join the real world, and you're surrounded by all these positively influential people, and they're all pushing you to succeed and helping you out. It's game changing. It's completely different. It's something that you instantly gravitate toward, and you just want to hold on to. I actually remember shortly after joining, they attacked the domain, and the domain went down for a day, and like I was heartbroken. I thought, here was this golden community that I found, and they just took it away from me. I felt like I was robbed, and I instantly had a regret that I didn't gather enough information from the community, that I didn't watch more videos, that I didn't spend every single second I had of the day inside the community. And then the next day when I was up and Tate tweeted that, every single domain that they take down, we got another 12 dozen, or we got another dozen ready. I was like, thank you. You guys have figured this out. Like I finally found my calling. I found where I need to be.
Very beautifully put again. And it is quite sad that people you might have known for your whole life, when you get ahead of them, then they start feeling inadequate, maybe it's jealousy, whatever, and they try to put you down to stay on their level. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's just it. Like when you start to better yourself, I think they feel worse about themselves that they're not bettering their life, and that's the kind of the toxicity that's ours coming out. But you kind of just have to need to ignore that. You know what I mean? Like it's not like I'm never going to talk to some of these buddies or anything. They're still going to be my buddies, but I'm not gonna. I'm doing my own thing, and they're doing their own thing. That's what you need to realize, right?
right, right. And you'll meet new people who are thinking the same as you on your path.
100%. You'll meet new G's, and that's the positivity. That's the beauty about the real world, right?
Right. Okay, great. Now, maybe something you'd like to think about before answering. What have been the three biggest lessons you've learned from your time in the real world?
Okay, so the three best lessons in the real world. I would say one is I've already touched upon the psychology part. I'm just going to reaffirm that the Adams kind of mindset, the psychology investing, that was number one. You really need to get into the proper mindset when you start investing. You can't rush it thinking that the market's an ATM and you're just gonna put money in and take money out whenever you want. If you're not putting in the work, then someone is taking that money from you. It's like Tate says, money's not made, it's taken. And you need to stand under that cloud that's raining down and you need to take as much as you can from it, right? Okay, another lesson that hit me good was so obviously the masterclass. I'd taken a lot from the masterclass. The psychology part that I mentioned earlier, plus the sunk cost fallacy. I was holding on to my investments like they were going to go to the moon. They were going to make me my $1,000,000. And I was always crushing the numbers in my head, thinking, I have X amount of Bitcoin on my ledger. When Bitcoin goes to 150K, I'm going to be a millionaire. My kid's going to have this Bitcoin. It's going to set him free from the matrix. And I just got attached to that. And I quickly had to realize that that's not the way and the market maybe isn't going to be so available to retail traders to trade in the future. So you really need to seize this opportunity. You need to seize this moment. You need to take in as many lessons as you can and become the best trader that you can in this opportunity, because this opportunity now is our opportunity, right? In the future, it might be just another Forex market where we're completely outnumbered by algorithms and proprietary traders, right? And the third lesson was, it's probably not even a lesson that you find in the courses. It's just lessons that you get from other students. You get so many students out there, BS specialists currently in the trading chat, and CSUD. They got so much positive mindset, talking about their journey through trading, how it's relating to the real world, things that they're doing like MMA fighting, and how that mindset is correlating back into your investment strategies. How you just got to dive into it. You're never going to be fully ready, and it's not something that you're going to prepare yourself for 100%. You can go and you can crush all these lessons and think, I've created this brilliant strategy and brilliant system, and it's never going to fail. But failure is a part of it. You need to fail in order to succeed, and that's probably another lesson that's somewhere hidden in there. So
Right. Interesting that you mentioned CSUD. Not sure how to say his name properly. I believe I'll be doing an interview with him tomorrow. So
awesome. I look forward to hearing that interview.
All right. Great. So thank you for the insights. And that's most of my questions. I'll just have one more to end off with. So for people who are still unsure about joining the real world, maybe they still think it's a scam after having listened to this interview. So for $50 that, they're being scammed, what would you say to them in terms of advice?
I would say don't hesitate. Don't think twice about it. It's $50. Think about how much time you've spent in your life and how much money you've spent on pointless things in your life. Maybe you've even been scammed in the past, and that's one of the reasons that you're thinking it's a scam. how much did those scams cost you, right? Like, if you can't knock it unless you try it. And I can guarantee you right now that it's going to be game changing. It's going to be eye opening. You're gonna find so many positive people that you're going to be able to relate to. And yeah, what are you waiting for? Get on there, hit join, hit sign up. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in chat.
Great. So, Sylwester, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on. And I look
Absolutely.
forward to doing a follow up in 2 to 3 months to see how things have scaled for you and to see how you're doing. And until then, I wish you all the best.
Sounds good. Take care, my friend.